Okay, 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Sue, please.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Here.
Commissioner Desjardins.
Here.
Commissioner Burge.
Here.
Commissioner Prunick.
Here.
Mayor Barry.
Here. Okay. Item B, public comment, permanent limit. Anybody? Okay, let's move on to item C, consent agenda. Entertain a motion unless anybody has any questions on anything, pull anything off.
I do not.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Prunick, supported by Commissioner Desjardins to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Old City Business, ordinance number 12, public peace and good order. We tabled this from May 7th meeting, waiting for Attorney Nordine to be present for questions. You did provide us a letter and with 2 recommendations regarding the ordinance. I don't know if you want to.
Sure. So I did some legal research and looked into it. I guess we start with the fact that a city has a lot of authority to enact ordinances for the health, safety, and welfare of the community, general police powers. So we start with that. Although you are limited, but you don't do things that are in the ordinances that are unconstitutional. I agree with Commissioner Byrd to a point that after we had these reactions to the riots that happened in California, I forget when it was, 20 years ago, that they came back with some, municipalities came back with some ordinances that were a little bit too much and they offended the freedom of speech. I think that your ordinance is okay. I think it doesn't offend freedom of speech other than those 2 parts. I think those 2 parts do, and especially the second one. I mean, the second one when it says, and when I say the 2 parts, I'm talking about section 2E12, and it says if you use abusive or obscene language or make an obscene gesture, that it's disorderly conduct. Well, obviously, if somebody gives somebody the finger and they get arrested for disorderly conduct, that's not going to stand that. It's not, because you're allowed to do that. And, you know, and the First Amendment to the Constitution is an important amendment, and it gives people a lot of leeway to say a lot of things and have their own thoughts. To the point that they do things other people don't like burning flags. I mean, I don't like that people burn flags, but would I say that it's unlawful? No, I wouldn't, because I think it's the First Amendment right. So I think that those 2 sections should probably be removed. But besides that, when you get back to the cyber issue, I think that's going to be your discretion of this elected body. I mean, you're elected to represent the people, and you're going to have to make a decision whether you think that's right or not right. But I don't think it's offending any kind of legal requirement.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you have X amount of people standing on a street and they're yelling obscenities at passerbys, whether they're in a car or walking, is that protected free speech?
It is, as long as it's not threatening. So some of these other issues that were in this ordinance, you know, where it talks about things like where it says provokes or engages in any fight or brawl or commits anything that's kind of a threat. Well, those things you're not allowed to do, and it's,
Right.
you're not allowed to make people feel unsafe. I mean, that's a threat, and so you're not allowed to do that. But you are allowed to have freedom of speech, you know. So you get a bunch of people on the side of the street, and they're all over there saying that they hate the United States, and they're burning the flags, and we all drive by there and we don't like it. That doesn't mean it's unlawful, and it's not.
But if they're directing that at a car going by or people walking on the other side of the street, that's still protected then?
Unless it gets to the point, unless it rises to the level of obstructing traffic,
Okay.
right, or interfering with people's other rights, which, you know, you have a right to be free of threats and that sort of thing. So, obviously, there's a level there, that it gets, if you get enough people there, and I'm afraid to drive by there because I feel unsafe, well, that's kind of raised, rose to that level. But generally speaking, you're allowed to go a long ways under the First Amendment. I would recommend you change those two. There's two parts though.
So, I might just jump in here real quick, because that was one of the other things that came up in terms of how do we do that? Because there's some aspects of severance to things that are unconstitutional when they're decided to be unconstitutional or reviewed to be unconstitutional. From my understanding, this ordinance is a little bit different than some of the other ordinances that go through. So do we have to wait until this comes through? Like, should we have made a motion 2 weeks ago to suspend these two ordinances until you came through? How do we get those off right away compared to, do we have to go through the full month where something might happen? Because more things have happened since I wrote with
Okay, well,
questions for that, yeah, so. No, I realize that, it's like, sometimes the timing of this is difficult. We're in a community that timing matters.
So the process, this is a general ordinance, so you don't have all the requirements of a zoning ordinance. Zoning ordinance has specific requirements to change the ordinances. This is a general police power ordinance, it's called, which has lesser requirements, different requirements. But the way you should do this, though, is have an amendment proposed to the board, and then you act on it. So you could act on it right now, I suppose you could, but you're going to have to, then after you act on it, you're going to have to advertise it and put it in the paper and do what's required under.
We don't have to have a first and second reading?
What's that?
We don't have to have a first and second reading?
I'll have to look, I'm not sure, I don't think you have to have a first and second meeting for police power to change. But you know what, I take that back, because you're gonna come under the requirements of your bylaws, your city
Charter.
charter. So
Charter
whatever it
requires
says,
first and
that's why I said
second.
in the letter, I said follow your city charter.
Okay.
So if your city charter says you're gonna have a first and second reading, then you're gonna have a first and second reading. But under the law, that's different, because the general law doesn't require as much, but city charters adopt their own rules and regulations.
We didn't change that with the last revision of the charter, did we, Devin?
We did not.
So you need 2 readings. There you go.
2 meetings.
Yep. So
We need a
inter-
proposed amendment before that.
introduction and a first reading, and then we schedule the public hearing. Public hearing has to be publicly noticed in the paper of regular circulation 5 to 15 days prior to the public hearing, and then at that point, there's a public hearing and second reading with adoption, and then publication, and then the ordinance per our charter takes effect 10 days after the publication of the amendment or ordinance.
Regular charter. I don't know why this, I hear Bryce, you saying that it's a timely thing, but I mean, the main thing I see here is that if somebody gets arrested under this ordinance for, because they had abusive language or a gesture, I mean, then they would have a defense that it's unconstitutional. I'm not sure that, is that happening? Are people getting arrested for that?
No, but when I specifically went around and asked about this kind of stuff, the history of this initially, just to be very quick and brief about this, is that there was a posted municipal informed asking about the 9 o'clock siren, honest, open question. And there was confusion about it being directly tied to a curfew ordinance. So I looked to see if we had a curfew ordinance. And we do, and none of the timelines worked out. And then when looking at the rest of this ordinance, I went, holy cow, some of this stuff hasn't been updated in a long time. So now that we're looking at this ordinance as a whole, and there was confusion about it, I still think that, there's some aspects about, whether or not the siren might be misleading or confusing when trying to enforce this, and whether or not that, sidetracking a little bit. But ultimately, when I was looking this kind of stuff up, I was asking a couple of people within the city government, and they told me flat out that the only aspects of this ordinance that anybody can remember being used to enforce anything were the 2 clauses that you deemed unconstitutional, and I also agree is unconstitutional. So this entire ordinance has been, for the last 25 years, hinging on those 2 things that we've deemed to be insulting to the Constitution. And at that point, it just kind of opens up everything else about, you know, what are we gonna do with it? And I do agree with you on this too. At some point, once you have the basic aspects of the constitutionality dealt with, now your job is pretty much done. Now it's left to us to figure out, you know, what we like, what we don't like, what kind of discussion. So, I just wanna make sure that it's done in a timely manner. I remember dealing with 2 extra meetings, and this has taken a long time, and, you know, to make sure that we're not dragging our feet on people's liberty.
One thing is that I didn't deem it unconstitutional. I said that there's a possibility it's unconstitutional. That's a court. You know, a court decides those things, you know. I can look at them and say, give you a legal opinion and say, yeah, that's probably not a good thing. But I can't say for sure that it's unconstitutional. That's a court of law, that's that, so.
Well, I don't think, we've had this for a long time. I don't think it's been exercised a heck of a lot. And I don't think another 4 to 6 weeks is gonna matter, one way or the other. So let's do it the right way, like our charter says, and do it so it's done, and done correctly.
And just for the record, the city fire siren, the 9 o'clock whistle as we call it, has always and only ever been about the Munising Volunteer Fire Department. It has never been used as a curfew recognized or acknowledged by the city commission or the county board. It is not a curfew siren, though some parents choose to use it as one. That's their prerogative. But it has always and only been about the Munising Volunteer Fire Department.
But it goes off every night though, is that right?
Every
Yeah.
night at 9 o'clock and Monday at noon.
Yeah, so we've been included in multiple studies as recently as 2022 by various college newspapers as being in downtown. We've been identified that way. We've been on a national database out of HBCUs in Mississippi for, I think, 20 years, 15 or 20 years. So there's legitimate confusion about that. And then when you get into the fact that we have a curfew that doesn't match up and we're using a government tool that is only accessible by the government, you know, that's the reason why the enforceability of the issue kind of came up, is that if we're actively confusing our own citizens about it, or the people that are come here as visitors, or people that moved to town that didn't have that correlation, that is not really well publicized, that Commissioner Desjardins brought up, then does that leave us for legal liability? I mean, the way that you wrote the legal analysis here definitely shows that there's kind of a CYA aspect with the broad reach of the cases that you cited with precedent that would help us defend that, but it wouldn't necessarily mitigate any risk of a lawsuit or confuse the citizens. It just means that we've got a leg up if we ever do get sued. So again, I think that's not necessarily you, I think that's us, in terms of what, you know, how much do we want to look at this in terms of risk mitigation for something that's not really enforced.
Well, I'm just gonna stop you.
For
So what we need to do, if we want to move forward with these 2 recommendations, we would need a motion tonight to approving that we want to go forward with these.
I
We
would
need
say
to have
that
some
a
draft
motion-
language.
So,
I would say a motion to direct your attorney to draft an amendment to this.
okay,
And I'll tell you that I'm gonna recommend that one be stricken altogether, number 12, and then the other one, which is number 9, will just be amended, revised.
okay.
And I'm prepared to make that motion. The one correction I noticed, Bill, is that the First Amendment, not the Second Amendment.
Did I say second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
And then I would like to, in the paragraph further down, we are the United States rather than the untied.
Yeah, the other side, I like it.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a motion, do I have a support?
I'll support.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Desjardins, supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to recommend to our city attorney to draft up to create a draft of language regarding the recommendations that he had proposed in his findings regarding ordinance 12. Any more discussion?
Yeah.
Limited.
Yeah, I will not be supporting this because I think it needs to be scrapped. I think there's too many things that leave us up for liability to be sued, but not, eventually wins not good
You will not
governance.
be supporting what?
I will not be supporting this motion because I think that we need to scrap it and start anew if we're going to even try to do anything with this. Ultimately, there's multiple aspects of it that I think are confusing, and there's a lot of things that have changed since that ordinance was written in '92, including things that overlap with our schools and things that overlap with other law enforcement agencies and policies and procedures. I do think that it will be easier to scrap and rebuild than it will be to try to go in this route,
Unless you've ever scrapped and rebuilt an ordinance from scratch.
which I have multiple times.
Okay, we're gonna have,
So-
I understand your point, and thank you, it's acknowledged.
My point being is it's much more time consuming, Bryce, and you lend a sense of urgency to this action.
And doesn't section 4 kind of touch on that? If things are unconstitutional, that it's not deemed in here?
Yes and
I
no.
mean, to a point.
The way that I interpreted that from him is that we still have to follow the due process and procedure. That was when we were discussing about the two
Right.
and the impact of the city's charters impact making those changes.
Okay.
So,
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
nay.
Motion carries. All right, new city business, Dr. Reynolds, welcome back.
Hey. Everybody's like, oh no, we're gonna listen to her again. You were missed, send a report.
You were missed.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so spring, this time of year, of course, is very busy for everybody, including us. We got a short period of time to get things ready, and thanks to the city guys who've been busting it, trying to get everything cleaned up, and that's always very difficult. So, got all our budgets done, DDA, we submitted those to the city and then got those approved through the DDA. The partnership just got theirs approved and approved their budget today. DDA, we got a lot of things going on. Beautification grants, we just had our deadline for that on Friday. It seems like we got right around, I'm trying to think what Pat had said, Chris, during the meeting today, I think it was like 27. I think we had gotten so far this year, which is a lot, which those tend to get more popular. Beautification grants, they're when people can apply for matching money up to it's a $500 spend, where they get $250 to beautify the outside, flowers, things like that. Parking lot grant, we still have got that open right now, but we've got some parking lot grants that are just getting finished up right now because fall was short, it's always short, the paving season, so we got some of those getting finished up, and then there'll be some more that people will apply for. We have a dumpster enclosure grant. We haven't been able to get that popular yet, but we would like to have that popular. I think once a couple folks start doing that and closing their dumpsters, nobody wants to look at a dumpster, right? Nobody wants to look at a trash can. So I think that will get more popular as time goes on. Facade grants, that's open right now too. So we've got those 4 grant things going on right now. We've got a healthcare needs assessment survey going on that we contract for every 3 years. The partnership contracts with the Munising Memorial Hospital. It's a requirement by rural hospitals, critical access hospitals, to do a healthcare needs assessment. So you've seen, if you've got social media, for example, Facebook, you might have seen the link out there. You'll see a newspaper ad for it too, that's Alger County Healthcare Needs Assessment. Please fill it out, takes you maybe 5-10 minutes to do. The more respondents we get, the better idea we get as far as what are the needs of the folks in town. But it's a demographic study, it's a survey study, that type of thing. But we do those every few years and contract out with the hospital to do that. Gardening, you'll see that happening before we meet again next time, before I come to the City Commission. We take care of, most of you know, we take care of all the gardening the DDA does within the city, other than the roundabout, which Claudia and them take care of. Though we do run the foundation grant through our office and through the city that they utilize to do that gardening there, the volunteers do, and we really appreciate that. All the pots, the art in the alley and all that type of thing, that's all taken care of by the DDA. We have a gardener, Renee Nelson, that does that. She's coming back again this year. We've got 5 part-time people that work in the summer. They're all coming back and have been coming back for years, so we're very happy about that. been able to retain those people, and you know how hard that is to retain seasonal part-time workers. It's very difficult. So we're very happy about that. Art in the Alley, you'll see that go up here probably in a couple weeks. The city guys just got done, we had to replace the overhead lights because those had come down, but it had been quite a while, but they went in there and put those up. Today we have bought some and they went ahead and put those up. We really do appreciate those. Those stay on all night. And I think that also helps safety-wise a little bit too. A lot of people use that alley just to walk home back and forth. And I think it looks good. The banner art contest, we had 4 top winners on that get prizes, 7 winners all together. That's the Elm Street, goes all the way down the dock. Those are right in the design process right now as far as the company goes. I'm hoping those come in this week, if not next week. I know the guys, city workers are trying to get all those banner things put together with everything else that they've got. So I've been working and met with Rick Coppola, who you've seen our bike racks around town, our DDA bike racks around town. He helped with those. He has UP Fab. And Mike Lempinen worked with him. And those 2 end pieces that are on Art in the Alley, Rick Coppola, Mike Lempinen, we had worked with them years ago to design those. And Mike Lempinen also is the artist that did the big mural that's on the north side of Madigan's, and on the back of Madigan's, and on the side of Hiawatha Communication. So met with them about a week ago, not even quite that, because I'd like to freshen up. You know, we've got not only that maritime walk that's behind Border Grill, but all the directories that are in town, and you got 2x4s and whatever, and you got Bearwood, and that, to me, that just, after a while, it gets weathered. It looks okay, but it doesn't really look good. It starts to split. So, I don't know if you've been over to Bonnie. I had seen some work they had done over there, some nice ironwood, iron work, things like that, design work that they had done, so they came over. I'm looking at doing some design around some of that stuff to make that look, better. All the way down that walking path, all around the directories. Also, when you're walking back there on that bicycle path, it starts off as where you can have your car, and then it narrows into, there's a walking path. When it narrows into that walking path behind Upco, we have talked about, I'm going to let him show me what he's thinking, a possible archway over the top of all that. Thought that might look good, direct some people down there, get more people walking down, getting them off the street, that type of thing. So we'll see how that one goes. Pictured Rock, we had the event, thank you very much, East Channel, they did a great job. We had about 95 people there. Munising Visitors Bureau was the Employer of the Year. And that went really well. Thanks to those people that came. Pictured Rocks Days is coming up. That's only 3 weeks from now. I can't believe that's already coming on down the pike. And that is on Friday and Saturday, the 13th and the 14th. And other than that, I think that's it. I've got enough stuff on my list here, but I think I've kind of got a good idea. I don't know if anybody's got any questions?
Bike path, you're talking about putting an archway behind Upco?
Behind Upco, you know how it starts off wide, right? And then it skinnies down to the bike path.
Right.
Yep, there, back
Is there
there.
any way we can get the garbage picked up behind the holiday station?
You know, that has been bothering me forever, because you know what?
Just awful.
It's awful. You know, I know some people volunteer from the community, and I saw them post a bunch of stuff, and I don't know.
They were doing pads.
That's Pat's could use.
Did they do pads? I thought they were over, though, by the railroad tracks in between there and the memorial. I thought I saw some people. I'm not for sure, but I'll check on that, because that drives me nuts, because what happens so many times, and this happens from just, and I'm not dogging Subway or anybody like that, but from some businesses, if they don't close the lid, that happens at Holiday, you don't close the lid, it blows out. And so a lot of times you'll see stuff down that hill that you're talking about that has blown out of the dumpster, and it goes down that hill, and it doesn't look good, especially if you're trying to get people to walk.
Pick up too, because it's real shrubby in there.
Right.
Yep, and you're trying to get people to walk back there, but it doesn't look good, because it's got trash. So I can check on that. I know some people that want to do some volunteer stuff, so maybe I can get them.
Do we get community service workers anymore?
community service workers there?
Maybe corrections workers, I'm saying.
You know, I don't know if
We cannot. So, because that's, every once in a while, I check in with the county. We can get individuals who have community service, and typically it's a person here and there, but it's not the old style jail group.
yeah. Oh, yeah, and we did get the naval panel replaced down at the Veterans Memorial during the winter, or during some windstorm, can't imagine. One of those panels came flying off and ended up all curled up and ruined, so we just got that one replaced the other day. That happens on and off with some of the installations. The wind in this town is wicked, so
Well, on behalf of all my fellow Navy veterans, thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. We also had to replace one of the posts down there. We'll double check on those before Pictured Rocks Day and July 4th, those electrical posts that are down in the park, so we always check on those every year before the events start, make sure everything's working, so.
Anybody else? No. Thanks, Kathy.
Welcome back.
Good to see you. Thank you. All right, item number 2, request to rescind interview selection of candidate number 4.
Straightforward, you
Yep.
just need a motion.
Yep, pretty much. They decided they,
No, I move that we rescind our offer to candidate number 4 for the city manager position interview because of time limit requirements made by the candidate selected for the position.
I'll second.
okay.
That was easy.
I know. Motion made by Justardens, seconded by Commissioner Justardens, seconded by Commissioner Wilkinson to rescind the interview selection of candidate number 4 for the city manager's position due to time limit requirements. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. And opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, Tourist Park change order number 2 in the amount of $4,422.
Another change order coming across, it is for the installation of a plastic type ceiling panel that is going to cover the gypsum board ceilings that have been in place in the bathroom. It is going to match what we expect in the east bathroom rehabilitation for this upcoming year. And after discussions with the contractor and our operator, it is a very, very operations and maintenance friendly ceiling option, as gypsum board is subject to water. What this would do is seal the ceiling so they can spray it, clean it, and keep any mold or insects off of it.
Any questions? I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the change order to the increase of $4,422 for the tourist park.
That's support.
Moved by Commissioner Prunick, supported by Commissioner Birch to approve change order number 2, the Tourist Park change order number 2, increase of $4,422. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, USDA Rural Development pay request, number 34, the M28 Water Improvement Project. This is the amount of $6,953.78.
34th drop. It's gotta be a record.
I don't doubt that. I don't know what the previous record was, but I think we are past the 0809 project timeline,
Sure.
so I think that went to 2012. But this is actually, even though it is titled for the M28, that is the title of the funding. This is actually for the engineering work for the Bay Shore Well House rehabilitation. And the Bay Shore Well House, we had a progress meeting with the contractor today. UPCO is going to be there on Thursday to do the power drop, and at that point, they will begin actual construction of the new well house on Monday, the 26th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 34th drop of USDA Rural Development request for $6,953.78. I'll support.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Justardens to approve USDA Rural Development pay request number 34 for the M28's improvement project, Bay Shore Well House, in the amount of $6,953.78. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
That's a roll call.
Oh, sorry, roll call.
We were all just waiting for that.
Commissioner Wilkinson,
Aye.
Commissioner Desjardins,
Aye.
Commissioner Burge,
Aye.
Commissioner Prunick,
Aye.
Mayor Barry.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. I have one more chance at this. Midwest Construction, item number 5, Midwest Construction Group pay request number 2, boat launch access project, in the amount of $169,104.74.
Yep, this is just a progress pay draw, doing them on a monthly basis. The subcontractor is there doing all of the site prep. They have what was formerly known as the lower parking lot is now to gravel. Soil tests have been completed and compaction tests, and that is essentially good for rough grade. They have moved to the upper parking lot and are preparing for utilities, as well as the next big step, which will be the installation of the retaining wall blocks, and then the addition of gravel up to that area as well for rough grade. And at this time, paving is scheduled for the week of June 15th, and they are on track to meet their substantial completion date of the 22nd.
That white PVC, is that from the forest main down on Commercial?
The white PVC, there's a small stretch of white and green PVC, and that is the sanitary sewer service for the bathrooms for the ball field. And we were in fact on site today looking at it. We're gonna reroute it, but we have no idea how and why they did it that way. It comes out the exact opposite direction that you would think it would. So, but yeah, things are moving, and this is a progress payment, and I would recommend payment.
That big cement box might have had something to do with that.
Yes.
Might have.
Okay, any more questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the draw of $169,104.74 to Midwest Construction Group.
I'll support.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Wilkinson, supported by Commissioner Prunick, to approve the pay request number 2 for the boat launch access project in the amount of $169,104.74 to Midwest Construction Group. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Boat launch phase 2 grant agreement. So for water.
Yes, the grant application that we had submitted back in March of this year was turned around very quickly by the Waterways Commission, and they have recommended us for funding and have provided a grant agreement for the second phase that had been originally cut out of the scope of phase 1. What this would entail is going to be the in-water launch area, so expanding that in going actually north and south to create additional space, and then also going deeper with it too. And then this would also include the addition of longer, newer docks that are friendlier for boats, as well as the addition of 2 more docks from what we had previously, 3 more than what we have currently. And it is a 3-year timeline. So from the grant agreement to the end of construction, it is 3 years for the city to do this. So I will say that we were a little taken aback with how fast the state was able to actually turn around this grant. I mean, it was about 6 weeks, which that has been unheard of in our experience with the state of Michigan. Inside of the draft budgets that we are introducing tonight and we'll be reviewing for the next couple of weeks, what we did is we have budgeted for engineering costs in anticipation of this project now that we have the grant agreement. And the recommendation from our end would actually be to plan for a fall of 26, spring of 27 construction on this project. So that would let us complete the project we have going now and give us a year to figure out exactly the funding aspects, see where our marina fund is. It is an enterprise fund, it's going to end up, and then see where we are with our general fund as well.
It's good news. How were we gonna pay for it?
Well, we were gonna figure that out in the next fiscal year. We didn't actually think we'd be able to budget anything for it this year. So that's, we thought we would get an agreement or an announcement of the award in August, let alone in late April, early May of this year, so.
It's too late to do it this fall.
We don't have enough time at this point to bid it. and have contractors be able to fit in their schedule for 10 to 12 weeks out from now.
Okay. It's good news nonetheless.
So it is $300,000 state funds for a total budget of 600. And the numbers, we had based them off of the previously bid numbers, so we're fairly confident in those. We added about 20% with contingency on top of it, so we don't get into a scenario of high bid prices.
Motion?
Yes, please.
I move that we approve the voting access site development agreement between the city of Munising and the DNR in the amount of $600,000 and adopt the resolution attached.
I'll support.
And do we need to authorize you to sign it?
No, we will actually have the mayor sign it,
Oh.
so this will be your signature when we complete all of the information on it.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Justardens, seconded, or supported by Commissioner Wilkinson to approve the boat launch phase 2 grant agreement from the state of Michigan in the amount of, the project total is actually 600,000, the grant itself is 300. Roll call vote, or, yes, roll call please.
Commissioner Wilkinson,
Aye.
Commissioner Justardens,
Aye.
Commissioner Burge,
Aye.
Commissioner Prunick, Mayor Barry.
Aye, motion carries. Request for commercial dockage. Is this the sailing club? Is that what you were telling me, Kevin?
Yes, we were approached by UP Sailing Company. They are currently operating a sailing school out of Marquette. They would like to locate a second smaller boat down into Munising. They have had a number of discussions with our harbor master over the last couple of years. What they would like to do is line up a spot at our dock before they are actually purchasing the boat. So what they'd like to do is to get the blessing of the city commission to have a approval in concept of their request, and then have the commission authorize me to move forward with the waterways paperwork, as we have to do a commercial variance and submit paperwork to the DNR to get any sort of formal permission from them for this use.
And we have the room?
Yeah,
Just to make sure, like, this doesn't impact anything in terms of not only the width of the space, but also people that are walking on the docks?
Correct. No, it would actually be in the same spot that I believe Seabird Parasail was the last commercial operator in, and it would be a very similar size. And at this point, I don't know if they would even be in that slip this year, as I know they're trying to plan at least a year out, so we have the ability to plan around.
I'm confused on what this motion will sound like.
It would, in my recommendation, if the commission would like to work with UP Sailing on the lease documents and getting a variance and moving through the process, it would be to approve the use as requested in concept and authorize the city manager to move forward with the paperwork.
I will move that we authorize the city manager to move forward with the American, what is this, UP Sailing Company's commercial lease of LDOC space.
This work?
As close as I can get.
That's good.
And once I'm able to get everything to Waterways will have to go to an actual commission meeting. They will provide the approval, and at that point, we'll actually come back to the city commission with the lease documents and everything at that point before formal approval.
Do I have a support?
Yeah.
Oh, did you support it? Okay, I'm sorry. It's been moved by Commissioner Justardens, supported by Commissioner Burge, to approve in concept, UP Sailing Company,
For a commercial lease of the other.
for a commercial lease. And to,
I think that's what I meant.
I got it.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Thank goodness. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Introduction to the 2025-2026 budget.
Yes, inside everyone's box is a budget packet. Following our charter, we do a budget introduction in the no later than the second meeting in May, which is this evening. We typically supply the budget to everyone for a couple weeks. And in the meantime, what we would like to do is, tonight the only action would be to set the The public hearing, we have to have a fairness and taxation public hearing before we adopt any budget, and tentatively, we were looking at June 4th for that public hearing. That is our next city commission meeting. The public hearing does have to occur. The budget historically has been adopted at that same meeting, however, it does not have to occur at that same meeting, so there is leeway. It just cannot be adopted until we have that public hearing.
So tonight, we just basically need to make a motion to have the public hearing on the
June
4th, at the
Yep.
4th meeting? Okay.
But that's what the commission would like to do, and then also, we were going to discuss hopefully a soft day and time, potentially even this Wednesday, if there's a time and date that would work for everyone for a budget review session too, just to go over the budget and then also go over how we operate our funds and finances and things like that in general as well.
What time Wednesday?
Well,
I'm gonna set a special meeting.
it'd be a special meeting, we would post it as a special meeting, but we'd actually take no action at that meeting. It would basically just be a review session, and we're looking at Wednesday, if that works for
1
everyone.
o'clock?
Wednesday, which Wednesday?
This Wednesday,
Day after tomorrow, Wednesday?
that would be, the 21st.
So I know what I'm doing tomorrow night.
Well,
I think with my work schedule, you guys are doing whatever.
yeah, Yep.
I'm out.
I just literally opened it, got 2 tabs.
Yep.
I'm
Nope,
just-
nope, and we were, and so, Kirsten and I have discussed, trying to have maybe even up to another one too, before we adopt it, maybe Monday the 2nd. But would like to go over kind of an introduction of the funds and everyone for,
We've
Okay.
done this a
How we
couple of
operate,
years now,
so.
running, and it's been really helpful.
Okay.
Just, it's about an hour, and we do a very
I'm
succinct,
used to reading it, making a lot of hard questions and coming back and answering them.
Are you gonna phone it through YouTube?
I can, yeah. that's-
Yeah, because then I can just watch it
Yeah.
later on,
Yeah, 'cause-
even later that night.
Well, I was gonna say, what time are you done?
If I'm gonna take off time to do city manager meeting interviews, then I cannot take off time
I didn't know if we
for
could
something like this.
Do it after work, after you're done with your day shift?
Well, I'm off at 4, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, and Kirsten and I have talked, we can even do like Wednesday at 5 too, if that'll be helpful. That's,
I'd be okay, I mean, that would be fine for me.
Okay, yeah.
What do you guys think?
No problem.
Okay.
Bob, how's Wednesday at 5?
Sounds good to me?
Alright.
Then
That's
that
fine.
works for you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
we will post it as a Wednesday at 5, but have it as a work session with no agenda, with the exception of that one single item being budget review.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion regarding the public hearing and the special meeting. We should do that as well. Somebody?
I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to,
We need a motion.
word it
No.
to make a
I was
motion
thinking
to,
about that, yeah.
You need a motion to set the public hearing.
to set the public
Set-
hearing
set
for
the-
June 4th
Yep.
and the special meeting for Wednesday.
May 21st.
We can do that on the same motion, they don't have to be 2 separate motions?
It's just giving us guidance so we publish it, because we incur costs on the publication of the public notice for the public hearing.
And the special meeting on Wednesday the 21st at 5 o'clock. Cool.
All
Alright.
support.
Okay, been moved by Commissioner Pernick, supported by Commissioner Burge to set the public hearing for the budget review, or for the budget, for Wednesday, June 4th's meeting, as well as, authorize a special meeting to be held on Wednesday, May 21st at 5 o'clock to do a budget review.
I'll second.
You know, it's already been, I just.
I'll third.
If there's no more discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is carried. Okay. Sorry, Lindsay, not off track here. All right, item F, public comments, 4-minute limit.
Should I stand?
Yep, please. And if you would just state your name too.
I'm Bruce Peterson, and just have a couple of quick comments. One is about the curfew that you were talking about earlier. And I was just thinking, when you're talking that years ago, one of my son was with a friend, were camping in our backyard, and they were supposed to stay there and they took off. and the police brought him back, brought my son back. Anyway, and we were glad they did, because we had them contact the police to tell them we were sorry. So anyway, we were glad that they did that, and there was no problem. And the other thing was regarding the fluoride, I asked about several weeks ago, and I'm just wondering if anything has been done checking into that.
I don't think at this point, it's, if you, a letter would be submitted as correspondence, would that, I'm unsure of the protocol.
Do we have a letter?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
You came about,
Yeah.
2 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
but to my understanding, no action's
no,
been taken.
yeah, we have not taken any action, as far
Okay,
as,
is there anything planned?
not at the moment.
Could there be anything planned?
Well, I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how to go about it, but definitely can look into it and see what steps need to be taken, or if there's a way to start getting this looked at.
Could we put something on the agenda to have something in front of us so we have an idea of what we're talking about? We can put it on the next agenda so we have the opportunity to look into different things and see what you plan and what we plan.
Okay, that's all I asked.
Okay. Yeah, and if you want to provide information prior so that we have it, before the meeting, if it's, we're going to have it on the agenda.
I don't have anything more right now.
No, I'm saying, next meeting isn't until June 4th.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And I think we're gonna be out of town then, how about the meeting after that?
Do it
Yep,
then, which
yep,
is,
we can definitely.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Just one quick question. The housing needs assessment, is that gonna get out of planning commission purgatory anytime soon, or is that just gonna be still down there for a while?
No, in fact, I'll check on that, because where we left it, they were finalizing it, we're gonna get us bound copies and a commission presentation, so.
Okay, because there are some timely things that might impact the public's impact on the master plan survey that's going around, as well as some of the union stuff that we had, brought up in the past. So I know our planning commission is dealing with a lot, so I respect their due diligence.
we'll have more information at the 27th meeting on the 27th. I think Ryan from QBAD's gonna be there too, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.